Ahoy there, Elder Scrolls Legends fans. I'm Dead Broke Nerd, and this is another Elder Scrolls Legends deck featuring some of the cards from the new Jaws of Oblivion expansion, which dropped on Tuesday. This is my Attending the Emperor list, and it is probably the most effective and probably the best deck I came up with in the first 2 days of the expansion. Now, of course, I think there's, just like any deck at this point, there's going to be tons of refining to do, but I do think that this general archetype has a lot of potential. I think it has legs in this environment, and I'm really excited to keep working on it and see how far I can take this list. So it is a hand buffing Spellsword list, utilizing a lot of the new cards that really help you buff cards in your hand and get effects based on their power when they enter play. But it also capitalizes in a similar fashion to Lunar Monk on the Moongate package. So this will run the Moongate as well as the Alfiq Illusionist. It also runs the Moon-Touched Guardian, and it runs the Queen's Captain. Okay, so it's running 9 of these, wax wane cards, and the reason we're combining that with the hand buff is predominantly because we have Moon-Touched Guardian, which part of the wax wane effect is that it can buff a card in your hand, and it's also an excellent defensive tool. But the other half of the equation is the Worldly Wanderer. This is one of the coolest and probably my favorite and potentially most powerful cards coming out of Jaws of Oblivion. It is a 5-cost 3/5 Nord. When you summon it, you get to pick a support from your deck that has a cost less than his power and put it into play. You don't put it into your hand, you put it into play for free. It's pretty darn good. What's extra cool is that when this guy gets buffed up, you can play things of higher and higher cost. Now, you can just play this guy on 5, no buff, and go and grab a Moongate. That's pretty darn good. But if this guy gets at least to 6 attack, which is easy to accomplish, you can go and grab your Divine Fervors for free. That's pretty darn good. So you can see where we're going with this. We've got a lot of cards that when they come into play, they have an effect based on their power. So of course we have the Doomed Adventurers to start on turn 1. These guys are going to give a random creature in your hand +2/+2. They're not super reliable, but they can be pretty good at times. We're testing them. They may get cut, but for now, I kind of like what they do. They give us an early game play. We have 2 Ambitious Hirelings. These are sort of... I had 3, I backed it to 2, I could see even cutting it, but I like it for now because they're yet another thing that when they receive the buff in the hand, they give you some extra utility and power. These are going to be able to buff a card equal to its power on the board. The flip side of that, and the better one, is the Emperor's Attendant. That's kind of what this deck's based around, right? Which is that when you play it, you give a creature in your hand power and health equal to his power. Okay, that's the clutch one, right? So obviously you can go Emperor's Attendant, put the buff onto the hireling, play the hireling, put the buff back onto the attendant or any other creature you want. But more importantly, this wants to go on pretty much anything else in the deck that can get a great effect out of its base power being boosted, right? We also have 5th Legion Trainer because all of those cards that when they come into play, then do something based on its power, this will go into effect first. So the 5th Legion Trainer's buff, as well as the Divine Fervor buff, will go into play before anything else, okay? It's important to remember, so you'll want to do that at times. So we have the Alfiq Illusionist, we talked about that. Dark Guardian is in here kind of just as a curve filler. We'll see if that sticks around, but for now, I'm okay with it. It's also just a guard, and this deck is a control deck. You want to play controlling with this deck until you can assemble a board big enough to zap your opponent one fell swoop. Now, this is a card that honestly has been an MVP, okay? It is Prophecy. I didn't even know it was Prophecy when I put it in the deck. I honestly overlooked that part, but it's really, really good. You get health equal to its power and its health combined. Okay, so if Dremora Channeler gets buffed to a 4/4 based on the cards in your hand, the hand buffs to it while it's in your hand, it'll heal you for 8 when it comes down. Of course, along with it being an overstated creature because it got buffed in your hand. Heck, even if it comes down off of a Prophecy for healing for 4, it's still good, okay? This gives you some much needed Much needed healing. Okay, Galen obviously makes sense in a hand buff deck. No need to elaborate there. We do have the edicts for some removal, very flexible removal. Emperor Titus Mead. This was kind of a meme inclusion. You probably don't need to run this. In fact, you'd probably cut this and the Dark Guardian and put in some Golden Initiates. But I really liked it because it kind of fit the flavor of the Emperor's Attendant to have an Emperor in the deck. But it also fits the strategy. It gives the top creature +1/+1 in guard, and because we have so many creatures that want to be buffed, it makes sense, okay? The Grand Inquisitor was one that I felt inspired when I came up with this one. You destroy a creature with less power than Grand Inquisitor. So if you buff this up to 4 attack, well, then you can destroy any creature with less power, with 3 power or less. What's also cool about this is with all of the gates running around, this guy can just come down by itself. You don't need to exalt him. You don't need to get a buff on him, and he'll still blow up a level 1,000,000 Oblivion Gate, okay? Lastly, we're looking at this top end. We do have one Marak. We do have one Dawn's Wrath. Obviously, a Odirna Necromancer, classic card that you want to get buffed in your hand so you can pull back better things. Now, not that you have tons of things that it can't pull back, but like the Moontouch Guardian, you need to buff at least once to bring this back. Marak, you do need to buff a little bit. Same with Queen's Captain, you need to buff up by 2. Point is, that's what you want to be using this Necromancers for. Summoning more guards, summoning more creatures, getting more Divine Fervors out with more copies of Worldly Wanderers, etc., etc. We have 2 Piercing Javelins because they're Prophecy and they're broken. And then a Faded Wraith. Now, I would be interested in putting a second Faded Wraith. At the time, I only had 1 copy. And in the gameplay that you guys are going to see, there's only 1 copy. But I think 2 copies would be really good. I think 2 copies would be really, really good. Remember, if you bring this back with Necromancer and you have a Divine Fervor or 2 Divine Fervors on the board, or a 5th Legion Trainer on the board, you'll draw cards accordingly, okay? So just keep in mind, this guy is a value generating monster in a deck like this. This was our Legends Cast revealed card, and I definitely slept on it. Mostly because we hadn't seen a whole lot of the hand buffing cards, but I still slept on it, and I'm excited to report it's a really cool card. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed that. That's how the deck works. I know it took a little while explaining it, but it's kind of got some weird moving parts, so I felt like I should do a little bit of explaining. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like it, and if you haven't yet, consider subscribing. It's one of the best ways to help me out as a content creator. Finally, if you have any questions, concerns, comments, suggestions, comments, concerns, all those things down below in the comments, and I will I promise you I'll take a look at them. Anyways, guys, hope you enjoy the gameplay for Attending the Emperor. Maybe we'll see what we can do with Invade, or maybe we mess around with Goblins. Although I don't have the Bloody Hand Chef, so I can't really do Goblins. We definitely keep Galen here. And we get Emperor's Attendant to go with the Galen. That is beautiful. Oh my goodness, I love it. Let's see what they play here first. Morgan Mars, also playing Spellsword. Very cool. Respect. Okay, do I want to ring out a Barrow Stalker? Not really, so I'll just pass. I feel like the ring's pretty valuable here. It's going to be a Invasion. Okay. So Spellsword. Okay. Crazy. Look at that. Look at that. Run out of cards already. So we're going to Galen. And we'll go ahead and shuffle the Emperor's Attendants back in. That's a classic combo. Classic. We'll see what happens here. 5 to the face. Bam!
I slay the
Outvolot the Assassin as well. Okay. Let's see what we got here. We do have Titus Mead. Should be interesting. Let's go ahead and take this trade. This is going to buff something in my hand if I want it off of the ring. What would I want to buff? I could buff this Emperor's Attendant. I could also just go double Illusionist. What's my next turn like? I do want the ability to guard with this, so I can trade into this. I mean, shouldn't I try to kill this? You know? Like, shouldn't I just make an honest effort to kill this? He's running out of cards. Like, he doesn't have that much to actually capitalize with it right now. So I'll just do this to start. I mean, it's 4/2 stats for 3. It's not bad, but it does give me the clear on the Outvolati. Gets a rally. Okay. That's still level 2. Not really worried about it yet. All right, let's go trade. Trade, and let's go Titus. Let's put out Emperor Titus Mead, and we'll allow Titus to start buffing the things on the top of my deck. Yeah.
Some tasks cannot be done.
Okay, Invasion Marauder. Got it. Execute. Also got it. Roger that. Okay, so we have a +2/+2. So we have an Ambitious Hireling with Guard. That's pretty nice, especially because it's going to buff this. Just enough to trade in. So, sweet. That's pretty great. I think we'll go ahead and we will do this with the Moontouched Guardian. So we'll go... we'll go Moontouched Guardian over here as well. So it's going to be... this.
Try to hit this one.
And we'll buff our Emperor's Attendant. And then we'll go Ambitious Hireling.
Just want a chance to prove myself.
We'll buff this, and we'll trade there, and we'll pass. Okay. The Bitterfish Witch and your Banelord using Uprising gives me extra prophecies. Replace Murkwater Witch with it. Oh, I can see that replacement. If you were running with the Murkwater Witch before, I can see that replacement for sure. Okay, so we just get Divine Fervor now.
Chimeric Spirit of the Sky, guide us.
We go trade. Trade. I could ring out a Barrow Stalker, but I think I'm going to hold on to it. Bitterfish is such a neat card. The animation is killer too. I haven't paid attention to the animation. It's only been played on me once, which was last game, and I wasn't paying attention. Okay, let's take a look at this. So I have an Edict. My opponent has an Emperor's Blade and a Oblivion Gate. He also hasn't been playing these cards up here, which leads me to believe they're expensive. I would love to have a Moon Gate, but I don't have one. I'd love to have a Worldly Wanderer. Also don't have one. I kind of want this to smash my face in, though. The question is, do I want to start, like, trying to clear this manually? So, like, I could go, like, Emperor's Blade and stack it onto a Barrow Stalker. It's just that I'm missing out on better hand buff stacks. I could just Edict this and then, I could just Edict this and play a Barrow Stalker and pass. It's a level 3. It's going to be tough. What do you think about this? I'm going to start drawing my higher end cards soon. I don't think I want to Edict his Emperor's Blade because I want this card here. So what if I just put down a single Barrow Stalker here? And then I pass. Yeah, I mean, we already have a Divine Fervor out. Like, everything is increased in value.
Go no further.
Doomed Adventure. Okay. Crisis Begins.
Speak, citizen.
Golden Initiate. Okay, with charge. Golden Initiate with charge, nonetheless. Okay, well, we have 2 Edicts now. Maybe we just go ahead and Edict that. Maybe we should have done it before. It only gives 1 keyword, and that's the one it got. Classic. Alfiq Illusionist does give me a 4/4 guard. So if I go Edict Alfiq, I take 4 more.
Size alone belies this one's power.
Did you hear that?
So we're contesting this. We're taking more damage. I do have the Emperor's Attendant with the Barrow Stalker, which we want to play eventually. Okay. Crisis begins. It's so overpriced, but my hand is screwing me here.
The Oriole do not waste time chatting with mortals.
Okay. There's a moon gate. Too little, too late. Well, not actually. Actually, this isn't too terrible. Let's see. Because if I go moon gate, necro, I can go play. That's 7. I can snag the Alfiq Illusionist or the Moon-Touched Guardian. In fact, if I go Moon-Touched Guardian, I can put down the Barrow Stalker alongside it. It's getting scary, though. I almost want to Edict this more than anything else. Because, I mean, if he picks up a single removal point, a single removal card, I lose, don't I? So what if I go kill Emperor's Attendant onto Barrow Stalker?
We will protect the Emperor or die trying.
I smell the stench of the living.
It's risky.
Prepare yourself.
Okay, so we do stabilize here.
Kneel before the faith.
Oh, nice. Perfect. So we'll
Wrong
go
place for a midnight stroll.
here. We'll go 5th Legion. Odirna Necromancer. Well, Necromancer right now is 4, so I don't actually need to 5th Legion it. I make this trade. We go. I need card draw really more than anything else, to be honest. But if I put down the Dark Guardian, I've got another Emperor's Attendant. Yeah, really more than anything else, I need card draw right now. But maybe we just go for the Moon-Touched Guardian, get the double ward. So I just do this.
Training is over. It's time to act.
Oh, I forgot to Moongate. Crap. That sucks. Oh man, I hate when I do that. I missed 2 points on one of my guys in hand. It may not matter, but it's frustrating. Because I made that mistake earlier, and I'm mad that I made it again. Edict. Honestly, that's just such not a big deal. Like that's such not a problem. Yeah. So we go Emperor's Attendant.
We will protect the Emperor or die trying.
You go Worldly Wanderer.
Let's knock some heads.
Yeah, sorry, Fla. It shouldn't end up mattering,
You
but
can't defeat
it does
me.
feel crummy.
Stay out of my
Wrong place for a midnight stroll.
Stay out of my way.
And this should be game next turn. I suppose, barring a Dawn's Wrath, which I don't expect to be in here.
We'll hold, no
Yeah.
matter what. I am the emptiness at the center
Dramora.
of your heart.
And nothing does it. So, okay, GG. Cool. Let's see. Smack for 12. Let's see. If I go 7, that takes him to 13. 6. So 8 takes him to 12.
Wrong place for a midnight stroll.
6. And Dark Guardian. GG. Nice. Nice. I like that one. That's a cool deck, man. How do we feel about this? This feels pretty cool.